Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. This is ANE 150. I'm your instructor, and this is Module 3, and we are on Part 18. We're finishing our model up, getting it ready for presentation. We just need to clean up the low poly, and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and get to it. So what we need to do is kind of follow the pieces that you see here. You know, we got that kind of pushed in a little bit, so we can do that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to make some changes. So this is the time to make changes. We got our high poly totally completed. Now we just got to get everything aligned the way we want it to look, and it looks like we've got everything pretty happy with it. We just got some places like right here that need to be bent in, and so we can do that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that done. And there's some things right here that I want to change as well. So I've got this piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and isolate that and make some changes with this. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this edge that I created, and we're going to do a Control Delete and get rid of these edge loops right here. These edges, just do delete. And then on the back, we don't need any of this stuff, so I am going to go to face mode, and just be careful and hit the Q key. And I'm going to go ahead and just select these faces on the back. Again, be very mindful that you may select some faces on the front. Okay. So just kind of look at what you have, and then since we'll never see the back, we're going to go ahead and delete that. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and move these vertices down to match the bottom. And this is just last minute changes that I want to make, as I didn't like how it was smoothing and how it looked on the weapon against the concept. So now I'm making changes. I'm going to do insert edge loop and insert edge loop right here. I'm not going to go up and down here. I'm just going to leave that the way it is. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. I'm going to go back into selection mode, hit the 3 key, and that's what it's going to look like. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay. So hit the 1 key again. So what I can do with this now is I can go in here to face mode and select these faces on the interior, do an extrude, Control E, and scale down and scale in. Okay, so I can support those edge loops. And then I want to select face mode and just move these down like that. And I can even scale them in a little bit if I want to, like that. There we go. And so now we can take a look at what we have finished with this. So I'm going to go ahead to hit the Q key and then hit the 3 key. There we go. Alright, I'm going to turn off edge loops, and that looks pretty good. I like that. Alright, so I'm going to do this for the rest of them. So I'm going to hit the Q key, or 1 key, and go into selection mode. Make sure I go up into object mode up here and go to control 1. So that one's completely done. And then I'm going to kind of rework the other ones if I need to. I'm going to isolate that one, control 1. And you can see that if I hit the 3 key it just collapses. I don't want that, so I'm going to do the exact same thing. I got most of it done here. I just need to get rid of these edges here, this edge loop here, so double click on that, and we'll do some changes here. So I'm going to click on the outside pieces. Well, let's just get rid of this first. Just double click on that one, control delete, hold the control key down and delete, and then we'll go ahead and delete just the every other one here. There we go. That'll work. Okay, that's where we kind of, yeah, there we go. That's good. Alright, so now we're going to go into selection mode and hold down the shift key, left or right mouse button, and go to insert edge loop, and go ahead and insert that edge loop right here. And then we're going to go ahead and select the faces in here, like that, and do what we did with the other one, control E. And now we're going to scale down and scale in, like that. And then we're going to move this edge down by selecting it, hitting a W key, and moving it down, like that. I think I even scaled it in a little bit. There we go. Alright, so that's done. Select it, go back around to the face mode, go to face mode, and hit the Q key and select all these edges, or excuse me, faces in the back. And double check the front. Yep, that's why you double check. Alright, and then it got rid of one face, so I'm going to go around, just make sure I don't have anything else selected, and then hit the delete key. There we go, that one's done. Go into object mode, hit the 3 key, yes. Okay, go back. Control 1, there we go. I've got one left. On that one, okay, get right to it. There we go. Just select the edge around, delete it, and then we'll go into here. Now I hit delete. It didn't delete the vertices, so control delete, right? And then because if you just hit delete, it won't delete the vertices around it. Now this doesn't. I don't want to delete vertices anywhere in here, so I just hit delete. And honestly, I don't think it would let you delete those. Anyway, if you wanted to, let's go into object mode. Let's add that edge loop at the bottom. That'll help support that edge loop in the back. There we go. And let's go ahead and hit the Q key and go to face mode and select the faces in the front. And make sure you don't select anything else. And then control E. And scale it down a little bit, scale it in a little bit, and then this edge down here you can go ahead and move. So we're just doing this to all 3 of those pieces. There we go. Okay. So let's get rid of the faces in the back. Select all the faces. You notice we got a face in here, this little teeny face here, so I need to get that. Might have one on the other side too as well, and I do. Get that. Alright. And again, just make sure we don't select anything in the front, which is easy to do. Alright, I got lucky this time, didn't select anything in the front. And we just delete. There we go. Alright, so we're never going to see it. If we're never going to see it, then get rid of it. Okay, hit the 3 key, just make sure, yep, everything's good there. Alright, cool. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, we got that little thing done. I think with these rings, I'm going to duplicate this for low poly cleanup. These pieces here. Go into object mode. And duplicate these, Control D, and go into low poly cleanup and add those selected objects. Because what I'm going to do here with these, I'm going to add edge loops so I can smooth them. Right, because if I smooth them now, they look a little bit strange. So if I want to add detail to these later, I can. So I'm going to go Control 1. Alright, so we're just kind of last minute things here. Insert edge loop. We want this to look really machined and complete. So the only way to do that is to select that. And so we're going to go in here and get these in here. Okay, that one's done. Just make short work of it. Go into object mode. Make sure in your object mode, go ahead and click on it and hit the 3 key. Make sure you hit the Q key just so you don't add any more edge loops. There we go. So that's a nice, that looks really good. Okay. So you can bring that into Mudbox or another program to just add detail, or you can even add detail to it in Substance Painter if you want to. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is this guy right down here. Let's hit the F key. And we're going to go ahead and add edge loops to this too as well. Let's just get started on that. This is the laser sight. Alright, looks good. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. Hit the Q key and go back in selection mode. And I'm just going to go into object mode up there again and hit the 3 key. So that's done. Looks great. Alright, perfect. So just cleaning things up, finishing things up in here. Control 1, get everything back again. So those are machined, ready to go. Oh yeah, my little glass button here. That doesn't need, now we don't need anything to done with that, because if I hit the 3 key, it just doesn't look much, doesn't look different. So we're okay with that. Alright, so sometimes we forget we hit the 3 key, so I'm going to select the whole thing, hit the 1 key, just to kind of let us know where we're at here. Alright, so I spread these things out a little bit, because I'm afraid that if I rotate this, it will cause issues. But unfortunately, this has got an outside curve. I can't really do that with that one. We're going to curve these in. So I'm going to show you kind of how I do it to get it curved in to match. This one's kind of sitting out away from it, so there's a couple things we're going to do, and this will take a little bit of time, but this one here, I'm not going to bend in at all, because I've already bent it in a little bit, or bent that piece in. So what I'm going to do, we could slide these back, right? Or I could slide this portion of the gun forward. Okay? So you see what I'm saying? I could take this and slide this edge forward a little bit if I wanted to. Let me show you what that could look like and see if we like it. So I'm going to go to vertex mode, and I'm going to select this guy here and go to vertex mode as well. So if I don't necessarily need to have both pieces. Let's see if I can get it to work. Component mode, if I go to component mode, if I go to vertex mode, click on vertex mode with this guy too as well. There we go. So I got those both in vertex mode. I didn't want this one, so I'm going to go back in here, selection. something happened here. Alright, so working on those two. We're going to go and I'm going to click off. Click on this one, go to vertex mode. Okay. Click on this one, go to vertex mode. Alright, so let's see if we can select both of them here. Alright, let's go click off again. I've been able to do this. There it is. Got it. Hit the Q key. There we go. Alright, so now I got both of them. And what I was going to do is just slide this piece forward. I don't think it'll make a difference at all. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. It's being stubborn today for some reason, so I'm going to move that forward like that. And you see that changes a little bit of the design, but it also doesn't make these pieces stick out any longer, as you can see. Okay? And so, if I feel like I've lost this angle, I can just move that back a little bit like that. And so, you notice that we lose this a little bit, this guy right here. That's a problem when you do that, but it's really up to you what you want to do. Go back into object mode, selection mode. I think this is kind of a up to you type of thing. So I'm going to kind of get this moved back a little bit, but I kind of like it better. It just fits a little bit better. Okay. What else did it mess up here? What else did I mess up with this? Okay. So moving it forward caused this to go through. So I've got to move this piece up a little bit. Okay, so I can do that. Go to vertex mode again and just go to perspective and just move that up until we don't see that anymore. There we go. Perfect. Alright. So these are little things, little changes that we make to align things a little bit better. So let me see how it looks with it all smoothed again. I'm going to select everything and hit the 3 key and just double check everything. Make sure I'm happy with everything. Yes, I like that better. I like it that these pieces aren't going out so far. Okay. Doesn't mean that this piece here is okay, but this piece here is kind of sticking out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select everything and hit the 1 key again. Okay. Again, we're just finessing and figuring things out here. Vertex mode. And I'm going to marquee select from the side view the bottom piece right here, and I'm going to curve it in. So I'm going to go into the lasso tool and lasso just this part, being kind of careful here. There we go. And not getting anything else. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the E key for rotate, and I'm going to hold down the D key as in dog and move it back. Okay, I'm using the arrow to move it back, and I'm going to go ahead holding the D key again as in dog, and I'm going to move it to the center. Okay, so you can see in the perspective that's centered. Okay, so I'm just going to rotate that piece in so it touches like that, just slightly. That's it. That's all I'm going to do, just to kind of wrap around. We're done. That's good. That's all I wanted to do. And then this one right here, do the same thing to the front. Okay, it's important to me to get that done. And so I'm going to do the same thing. Lasso tool, just select those pieces. Whoa, missed one. Okay, and I've got to go back and get that little guy there. So go ahead and click on selection mode, and I'm going to marquee select this one just in case we have other ones behind it. And the same thing. So E key, all right, hit the D key as in dog and move it back. Whoops. You have to be careful. Hit the D key as in dog. Let's go back into Q key. I think I messed it up here. Control Z. D key, there we go. And move it, the arrow. And then I'm going to move it up a little bit, right to the middle. Go to the perspective view, and this gives you a nice view of it, what you're doing here. And we're going to move it in until it touches, right? Move it until it touches. Okay. And do we need to rotate? I think that's good. Alright. So we're going to click off. And okay, take another good look at your model. There was a piece back here I think I had questions about, was this. Not that I need to remodel it, but it's going through other pieces. You can see it is going to fight for texture space right here between these two because they're overlapping each other. I don't mind if things intersect. What is the key here is that you cannot have them sharing the same space. So if you overlap, you have to pull one back away from it. Basically, this is what I mean. I don't care if they intersect, but they have to be pulled back. You see? That makes a huge difference. It's not going to share texture space. Okay? Control Z, if I go back, you can see it's sharing texture space. This may not be an issue here because it's going through it, but there's a point where it will have a problem right here. Right in through here will be a problem. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to scale that in a little bit. So if I go into scale, you notice that it is going to scale in an awkward way. So I have to go to the top view and make sure that this pivot point is over here. Okay, so I'm going to hit the Q key and the W, and I'm going to go and hold the D key down, and I'm going to click on Grid Snap. Let me click on Grid Snap first, hold the D key down, and click on the arrow and move it. Right? Okay, so now we can scale it properly. So it won't scale it in here, it will scale just over here. So I'm going to scale that in just enough to clear both of them, like that. And that is enough. So I don't want to leave any gaps, any problems, any issues. So again, you just kind of scale in a little bit and then look at what's happening with the rest of the objects. There we go. And let's click off. Okay. I don't see any real serious issues right now, so that's done. Let's look at the top here. Is that going to be okay? Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. It's kind of going in a little bit too far right here. So if I was really being crazy, I could select just these vertices. Let me hit the 4 key and make sure I got them all. Yep. And go back up here. I could scale those back out again if I wanted to, or move those back out. I can't really move these, but I can move these guys. I think you know what I mean. So very carefully, I'm looking up here. Very carefully, I can move. Turn off Grid Snap. That's when it becomes a problem. And I'm going to click on the arrow and just move it out a little bit, like that. Kind of back where it was. Okay. Just being very careful not to mess too much, not to mess it up too much. Okay. I don't mind that little piece like that. That will work just fine. So there we go. So there's not too much overlap there. There's a little bit, but there's not too much. Okay, one last look. one last look before we start doing the low poly cleanup. So hit the 3 key and click off and just give it one last look to make sure you're happy with everything. Just rotate around it. Okay, so I've got everything's looking good. So what I need to do is just kind of restructure this whole mess I've got here with the layers and keep it really simple. So what I want to do, I want you to create a layer called Low Poly Cleanup. Just create a new layer, just put the plus key and rename it Low Poly Cleanup, and then click another layer, rename it Medium Poly Weapon. Okay, click on the plus sign again, and then create a High Poly Finish. So you're going to have 3 new layers that are empty. Okay, click on the layers that you have now that make up this piece right here, and then make sure you have them on. Okay, so you can see that I've got them on. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to delete these 2. Alright, so what's going to happen is if I go in here and delete the layer, it basically releases those polygons. Make sure you don't duplicate anything just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and release these pieces from this layer, delete layer, okay? And then I'm going to click on this one and then delete layer. Now when you do that, just make sure you don't have anything double, okay? So I'm going to move things around, just okay, we're good there. And you always want to do this just in case. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is, now everything's released from those, I'm going to go ahead and select the object, okay? Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and copy it, duplicate it. The thing is with the layers is that sometimes it gets stuck in a layer and you can't get it out, okay? So the only way to get rid of it being connected to that layer is to delete the actual layer and then start over, okay, with the layering. Okay, so with that set up, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. So I'm going to do Control D. Okay, that duplicated it. Now I'm going to go into, it doesn't matter whichever one. Okay, we can start right here. Okay, click on it, right click over it, add selected objects. Okay, notice that everything disappeared because I have these turned off. The V is not showing. Okay, let's click off. Right, click on it again. Just marquee select the whole thing again. Do Control D. Okay, go to the medium poly, right click over it, go to add selected objects, and watch it disappear again. That's what it's supposed to do. And then you click off, and then you do one more marquee selection. Okay, Control D, right? Go to High Poly Finish, right click over it, and go to Add Selected Objects. There we go, perfect. Alright. Okay, so we're almost finished. Alright, so what I want you to do is we're going to do one more. You're going to select the original, and you're going to create a new one. This time you're going to click on this guy right here, create a new layer, and assign selected objects. So I'm going to create a new layer with those selected and assign a selected object. So now I'm going to double click on this, and we're going to type in all caps original. And then type in no touch. There we go. Good. Save it, and you can turn that off. Okay, so now click off. We don't need the background image anymore. We also don't even need the grid, but we'll just keep the grid. So I'm going to turn the background image off. Okay, so now we're going to work on the low poly cleanup. Okay, so click on that. This is the low poly cleanup now.